rich in life.
Yeah, you are rich because you are living here.
Yes, yes.
So anyway, let's start.
Okay.
Normally I have my podcast studio in campervan, but today I am in a really nice place in Queenstown, actually in Frankton. And let me introduce my today's guest, Shelen Scout Boys.
Hello.
Is it pronunciation okay?
Yes, yeah.
And what does it mean that you have two names, Scout and Boys? This is from both parents?
Yeah, so Boys, it's a family name. It's my dad's name.
Okay.
Funnily enough, my original name was supposed to be Scout growing up. And then my mom happened to hear the name Shelen, and she really liked that just like because it was different, it was unique. And so then they changed my name last minute to Shelen Scout. So my middle name's Scout.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
It's actually worked out. I mean, you know, Trout and Scout, it rhymes a lot. It's pretty good. I think so.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
thought it was pretty witty.
But I wanted to ask because in our country it's not so often that we have 3 names. But in Holland they have sometimes 5.
Yeah, Connor's got 5 names, so there you
5
go.
names?
Yeah, Connor, Neil, Murdo, Andrew. And there's like 2 first names in there.
Why?
I don't know. His parents love him a lot.
Okay, first question. How does it happen that you as an American girl ended here in New Zealand, in Queenstown?
Oh, such a tragedy. You know, I just got really lucky. A lot of things all kind of lined up, but originally I was over here studying abroad just for a semester. And when I was talking to the counselor, she had said to me, she's like, you know, what are your hobbies? And I'd only just recently gotten into fly fishing at the time. But I was like, you know, I'm an outdoorsy person. And she asked me, you know, have you ever heard of New Zealand? And I said, no, because I'm American and we're not all that well-rounded. So anyways, she just had said, you know, that would be a pretty cool place for you to go, just based off of what you've told me about your hobbies and what you like to do, and you don't really want to learn a second language. And so anyways, I ended up
second language.
Yes, they were like,
it is the same language.
I know. Well, they Europe is a big one that Americans go to, and I didn't want to go there. So anyways, so it worked out, and then I came over and I was studying abroad in Massey in Wellington. And there's not a lot of fly fishing to be had around there. There's very minimal, and when you don't have a vehicle, as you know, it's really hard to get around. So I ended up taking a bus to Turangi in the North Island, you know, out of Wellington, about maybe 5 hours. And I just happened to go to Turangi the same weekend as the Winter Fly Fest, which is where I met all of my mentors that I still have today. And I got to fly fish and had a really great time. And that just kind of, you know, and I met my partner. And that just kind of, over the last 10 years, became a slow progression into being a permanent resident here. Yeah.
So you are already permanent? Or? Nice.
I know. I know.
So, and you have 2 passports?
I don't have a passport yet, so I haven't become a citizen. So that's pretty much about the same thing. The difference is I have to live here for another 2 and a bit years. And then,
we are quite close to Queenstown airport.
Which is very good. We love to have the airport. But yeah, you gotta live here for a little bit longer, and then you can apply, and then you get a passport. But it's pretty much the same as being a permanent resident.
Yeah.
You just have a passport.
And what is the benefits if you are permanent resident? You can work here?
I can work here, and I don't ever have to apply for a visa again to go in and out of the country, because I travel so much, and I go home and I see family, and we, you know, leave to go on fly fishing trips and whatever else. The nice thing is I can come in and out of the country whenever. And that's probably the biggest benefit, because it is hard to get all the ESTAs and stuff these days, and just kind of not being in bad terms with the country that you really want to live in is top tier.
So anyway, and where you live in US?
So if I go home, I don't actually have a base. I just go see my family in California. They're located near San Francisco now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and when I will ask you from the start about fishing, do you have any some experience in US already when you start fishing?
Honestly, not a lot. There was, funnily enough, I only had gotten into it. I'd only just started fly fishing maybe a year prior to coming out here. So I never did any in California growing up. It was all spin fishing because my dad didn't have the patience to fly fish. And he was a dirty spin fisherman for sure. But I love fishing growing up, and then was really big into the hunting. But it wasn't until I was actually at university at Colorado State. I was walking across campus, and there was a guy casting a fly rod, and they just happened to be the fly fishing club. And so instead of joining a sorority, which I would have hated, I ended up joining the fly fishing club instead. And then that kind of, snowballed into it becoming my everyday obsession. Eat, breathe, obsession, passion, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
So, but fishing you started with your dad.
I did.
He was your first mentor.
Yeah.
So you fish as a spinning, or how call it?
Yeah, the spin fishing in the U.S., like where I grew up in California, there is striped bass that run through the Sacramento River, but I mainly grew up spin fishing for catfish.
Catfish?
And like these little, they're kind of like, like sucker fish, kind of like trash fish, carp. Catfish can also maybe be in that category. You ever seen the people that go noodling where they reach into a hole and they pull out that massive fish with their hand? Not that.
Not that.
But the same fish, but teenier and tinier.
Because catfish is in our country the biggest fish.
Ah,
yeah,
really?
We have these are over 2 meters.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay, why is definitely
with this
get the
big,
long why are they called catfish? Because they got the little whiskers. But no, they're just tiny. And so my dad, we would go to these they're called levees, where the water from, because I grew up in a very big agriculture area, all the water that drained into out of the rice fields would go into these levees, and so you would get crawdads, you would get catfish, you would get sucker fish, you'd get all these kind of trash fish that you could go spin fishing for and bait fishing for with worms. So that's what I did. What a purist I am now.
So fly fishing you were introduced in Colorado?
Yeah, much longer, much later.
And because in our country we are not such a club country, so we don't have clubs, or a few small we have. But what you are doing in these clubs? The sharing experience, tying flies,
just drinking and causing havoc. No way. This is like college students.
Okay.
With piece of shit cars, old fly fishing gear, and an alcohol problem. So essentially, it's like trout bums. It was really fun. It was one of those things where my first ever trip, like we would go on these trips, right? And my first ever trip was going to catch kokanee salmon in Gunnison. We met up with this other college fly fishing club called the Gunnison Sockeyes. And the president, he passed away a few years ago. He was a really lovely guy, really fishy dude. His name was Adam Beatty. And I didn't have waders. I didn't have any fly fishing gear. I had nothing. I had Timberland boots, and that was it. And a great attitude. And
this is the most important.
This is the most important. And so Adam was a pretty big dude. He was like, almost 6 foot. And so he had extra large men's waders for me that I shoved into my Timberlands. And the club had a fly rod that I borrowed, and Adam tied on a San Juan worm, and I caught my first ever kokanee salmon. My first ever fish was a kokanee salmon on the fly, and with the rest of my friends at the time, and it was so much fun. And it just kind of, when you're around certain friend groups, and someone's like, "Hey, you want to go out fishing today?" or "Hey, we're thinking about doing this for next weekend. Do you want to come? I think when you're first starting a passion and you're around people that obviously love that passion and are including you in it, you just get to experience it more and more. And then you become more in love with it at times. So that's how it kind of came to be.
Okay, and fly fishing is one part of our hobby, but another is fly tying.
Yeah.
Do you fly tie?
So that's such a great question. I probably only really got back into fly tying this last year. So when I first started fly fishing, I did start fly tying because you're tying these little size 22 zebra midges in Colorado. You know, because I started fly fishing in the dead of winter, and over there you can fly fish on all the rivers, most of them in the winter, but the only food that's down the system are midges and eggs. And I didn't know how to tie eggs, so all I had to do was tie little zebra midges, which was really easy, and I really enjoyed it. But it wasn't until I started working at Patagonia here in Queenstown, and we have that fly
Tying
bar.
bench.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
It's amazing. It's like we've got these regal vices, we've got all these materials, and so it just revamped my real interest for tying. And I'm really lucky. I have this mentor here in Queenstown. His name's Jason Cochran. You'd never hear about him, but he's like, to me, he's one of the most elite anglers, fly tyers. He's just like salt of the earth guy. And so before we went to Aitutaki, he taught me how to tie bonefish flies. And with that mixed with Patagonia, those two worlds kind of have just really brought me back to something that I used to be really interested about, but kind of lost it when I, wasn't living in New Zealand, in between, So it's been great. I mean, more money down the drain.
So you mentioned that you are working for Patagonia. So this is one of these original store, Patagonia. So is it a nice job, or is it just job?
I'm extremely lucky. Yeah. I mean, for me, I got a little bit lost probably a few years ago where I didn't have a direction with my career at all. I was backpacking around Asia for a little bit, and I started working in the wine industry actually. And
wine industry?
Yeah, back when I was in California, I was living there because my sister was about to have a baby and I needed a job. So the only thing open after COVID was wineries in that area, which is kind of Sonoma County, California. And so I started working in the wine industry, found out that I really loved learning about wine and, all this sort of stuff. So at the time, for those couple of years, I worked in maybe 3 or 4 different wineries. And I was like, okay, maybe this is what I'm meant to do. And then I started to really lose interest when I worked at a winery here back in Queenstown that was very hardcore about sales and pushing sales and pretty much telling people that they need to spend money on overpriced alcohol just because. And that's when I got this call from this wonderful guy named Pat Zippel, who was helping set up the first ever Patagonia here in Queenstown. And he had some people recommend me as someone to come in and help with the fish category in the shop. And I said, I've got this other job, so I might be able to do it part-time. And that's just been this slow progression of just kind of helping out with the fish section, the fly bar, to it being a place that I come back to after a long week of guiding. It's a place where I get to teach. It's genuinely like working at a fly shop, but it does have that element of retail in a way. So that is actually kind of nice, because if I didn't have that, my life would be eating and breathing and living fly fishing every day. And I think even the most hardcore anglers need like a little bit of shut off time.
Yep.
So the retail side of it is no problem, and the events are probably my favorite. We get really lucky with casting clinics with Carl McNeil, and Katka came over, and like these Patagonia ambassadors, and it's very fish centric. And that, for its first ever Patagonia in New Zealand, one that I get to work at, and it is it's the what do they call it? Our core sport is fly fishing. I'm over the moon. It's like I pinch myself when I go to work sometimes.
And did you ever met the former owner, Ivan Schunnard?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I
and
got
the feeling about him?
Yeah, you know, it was hilarious. I got lucky. There was a lady down south who was guiding him. Her name was Christina, and she had, you know, somehow my name had got brought up, and I got to go help out for the day with him. And it was really cool. He got in my old beater van, and like, you know, the seatbelt barely works, and I'm, you know, I'm not nervous or anything because he just seems like a wholesome guy. And we went out fishing for the day, and it was just really cool. It was one of those things where he hated people fussing about him, and I could understand.
I didn't
that.
catch you. Sorry, you said fasting about
Fussing, you know, like
pushing him or
no, more so just like, you know, when there's a celebrity or someone really popular and they're like, oh, let me help you with this, let me help you with that.
Yeah, please.
He just
Okay.
kind of wanted to like enjoy the day without feeling like the guiding was overwhelming.
But I mean, he is quite experienced
He
fly
is.
fisher.
Totally.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like getting to go fishing with someone who had so much knowledge and wisdom and just enjoy the day. And it was awesome. Yeah.
Super. Yeah.
Yeah. I think every one of those people from the global fish category, if I could say, meaning like the United States, the U.S. fish team, they're all just normal people with incredible careers and personalities and that just care so much about the world. And I think we need more people like that. And it's funny how many of them are in fly fishing. Do you know what I mean?
And Patagonia shop in Queenstown is the only shop on whole New Zealand, or is I mean so. Yeah.
They are putting a new one. They're putting an outlet in Wellington that should be going up in a couple of weeks. Should be open. Wellington, so the outlet's in Wellington, and then I think the one after that will be a store in Auckland, and then who knows?
Yeah, because I would expect that it will be in Turangi.
I would hope so. Actually, our wholesaler, Sporting Life, shout out to Sporting Life, I love you. Both Turangi and Auckland. So they're a partner and a wholesaler account of Patagonia, so they do stock.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Because in Wellington, how you said that there is no place for fly fishing, but Patagonia is not only about fly fishing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it'll be more of, like I said, more of like an outlet store that will hopefully have some other core sports and maybe have a different focus more on maybe surfing and diving and stuff that is more kind of Wellington centric. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, I have here another questions about guiding.
Hit me.
Because you became a reliable guide.
Ugh.
And this is part of your business.
Yeah.
And how long are you guided?
Okay, so professionally, I haven't even finished my second season yet. But I mean, I did get to do a little bit before that. I mean, so I guess you could say maybe 3 years, but you know, again, I don't want to sound like I know anything because I've just been really fortunate to. It kind of like coming to New Zealand. It's just something that's sort of fallen into my lap in a way. So, how it happened, I never thought I would be good enough to guide. I think when you start fly fishing in a place like New Zealand, and this is kind of like the beginning of your journey, and you're around the best anglers you've ever known, and you are the worst out of everybody in the group, right? So I think I had a confidence issue for a long time, just because, you know, you just always want to get better, especially when you watch everyone be so fantastic. And so then I had people suggest, you know, you should guide, and I always thought that was really stupid to say. And so then I just ended up fishing one day a couple of years ago. I was on the O'Reedy, you know the system. It can be a hard fishery, you know, and I remember I had this epic day, and really had figured it out that day, and you know, however many fish I caught, dry, nymph, whatever. And I had these two Aussie guys walk down, and they were like in their 50s, and Vic, and I forgot the other guy's name, but anyways, they come walking down, and I, you know, call out to them. I was like, how's your day going, boys? And they were like, oh, we've had the worst day. We didn't even see a fish, and this was like a bluebird day. There were fish everywhere. I had maybe gone up like, you know, half a K up my beat. And so they were like, how's your day? And I kind of had talked to them about how the day had gone, and you know, they and I kind of showed them in my box like what I was using, and then I actually walked down with them, and I put on a streamer, and I was like, you know, this is how you can kind of fish your way back down the beat if you want. And they look at me and they were like, what time can you pick us up in the morning?
Wow.
I know. And I was like,
Nice.
I'm not a guide, but
I take 1,000.
I was like, I'll be $1 million, thank you. And I, you know, I politely declined, and they were like, no, like, name your price. You obviously know what you're talking about. And like, again, I had only just sort of figured it out, and I was good enough to like be catching fish when these guys just wanted that little bit of extra knowledge, which was really nice. And so we ended up going out the next day, and we had a really great day. And I ended up calling a couple of my mentors and called my partner on the way home. And I was like, I think I can fucking do this.
Yeah.
And
No more imposter syndrome.
yeah, no more, you know, it's still there. And then joined the NZPFGA.
I don't know what is this.
It's the New Zealand Professional Guides Association. Fresh, yeah.
And you have to be there if you want to guide?
No, see, this is an interesting part of the conversation. You don't have to be. This is controversial. You don't have to be a part of the NZPFGA to guide in New Zealand. So there are Australian guides, fishing guides that come over,
Okay.
and they do guide down south.
Is it legal?
It is legal because they essentially, Australians don't need a working permit to come over here and guide.
Okay, I
But an
understand.
American wouldn't legally really be able to come over here and
But you are permanent resident.
I'm a permanent resident.
You mean another
but
American?
as a non-resident, yeah, as a non-resident, you couldn't do it. So but what the NZPFGA gives you is a dock concession. So all of the heli stuff that we do, majority of the time going into Department of Conservation land, dock land, you, no matter if you're a hiking guide, a fishing guide, whatever, you have to have a concession to be able to be taking someone else's money on dock land. Does that
Okay.
make sense? So the NZPFGA has a blanketed concession for all of the guides that are in the association. So that essentially is kind of your like, it's one of the things. And they also, you know, they police a little bit, and they do a couple other things that is helpful.
And
but
is there any insurance?
there you need to have private insurance. You should have private insurance.
But
Again,
this is not in this association.
no,
This is your private activity that you make some insurance.
with the association, you do have to have proof of private insurance and a health and safety plan.
Okay.
So you have to have those things to be able to be in the association. Now, if someone had come over and wanted to guide, again, maybe they were a permanent resident, but they didn't have those things, then they're just liable for themselves. You know, it's just something that only is a good thing to have versus a bad thing. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of, you know, so with the association, it's a good thing. You kind of get your ducks in a row to be able to do your job better, and also just keep people safe.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is just making sure you don't kill somebody, and that they have.
Do
a
you
good
think
time.
it can happen?
Yeah. Oh, totally. Like, I
Drowning
think
or
drowning, maybe not as much. I think where you can get in trouble as a guide, there's a lot of places you can get in trouble actually, but one of the biggest things I would say that I've seen is when you take out a big group of people. And let's say you're in the backcountry, and let's say Joe walks off on his own as you're trying to, like, guiding takes a lot of effort and a lot of focus on one individual at a time. And if you've got too many people and someone walks off, and isn't prepped and isn't paying attention, you've seen how dumb people can be, you know?
Yeah, I am teacher.
Yeah.
So I used to teach. So
So
people are
sometimes
really dumb.
people's sense of safety can be not the greatest. And so that would probably be the only time that you really would maybe hurt somebody without meaning to.
Uh-huh.
And the other, people can have a heart attack on the river. You know, sometimes people's health, maybe they're not honest about their health. And then all of a sudden you get into this remote backcountry system, and let's say your EPIRB dies, and then they go in a cardiac arrest.
Uh-huh.
You know, so you're supposed to have your health and safety, and you have all of these things put into place to make sure that you can take care of another living person for the amount of time you're out.
I'm surprised that you said big group. What does it mean?
A big group.
Because I was expecting that you are going with 1, 2, maximum 3 people.
I don't ever try and take more than 2 people, but other guides might, who aren't really thinking about the potential dangers. I've never really known many people to do it, but I had a guy last year email me. He had a party of 9 that he wanted to.
9 people?
9 people that wanted to go out fly fishing, and they didn't want to get a second or a third guide. So that's where we have most of the time in our emails back to clients. If they do have a big group, we only take 2 people at a time. If you have a larger group, then I will organize a second or a third guide.
Yeah, because here it's almost impossible to fish 3 people in one river.
But not everybody knows that.
Yeah.
People assume that you can go to a small little stream and everyone gets a rod and they'll catch 20 fish by lunchtime.
No way.
I know. And I get to be the bearer of bad news when they want to do that. So yeah. I love it.
Quite windy. We have some small effect. I just control the camera. If it's everything okay.
Yeah.
Everything is okay. So maybe
I'm not rambling too much, am I?
You are speaking really nicely.
Oh, good. Good. You're like, yeah, you are rambling.
No. I like guests who are speaking without questions.
Yeah.
That you can speak.
Yeah. I'm media trained. I was on the radio last week. It was great.
Okay, so you are in this association, or how I call it, and after you joined, so you said I will be professional guide.
I will do my thing. I will hopefully. Am I allowed to cuss on this podcast? I'll try not to.
You can.
I'll try not to. I will try not to do a bad job, but I'll stay working at Patagonia. So I work there part-time, a couple of days a week, and then I'm allowed to guide the rest of the time. So you have it half and a half? Or? I kind of have a half-half. I guide more. I guide a little bit more, but the thing is, one of the best parts about not just working for the brand and all the great things that go with Patagonia is they also help me keep a job over winter. So where the guiding also differs in New Zealand is we have an off season, winter, right? So there will be guides that will go to the North Island, to Turangi and Taupo, and they'll guide out of the only winter fishery that we really have other than the canals. And other guys will be builders over winter. Some will go over season work, whereas I get to pick up more hours at the shop.
Okay.
You know, which is good. We do actually get a little bit of winter guiding here, but of course you don't have many places to go, and there are some winter fisheries that are quite fun in the area. But of course the weather is always a big thing, and everything else.
How the clients can find you? How they contact you? Via Instagram or via your internet websites?
Yeah, a lot of it's word of mouth. Like the guides in this area, it's really small knit community, and so we kind of refer one another. But yeah, people can. Email is a great one. I check my email and I try and get back to people within 24 hours. So email is a good one, text, WhatsApp, you know, phone number, all that sort of stuff.
Okay,
Yeah,
I saw your website and it's quite nice. Yeah,
it's not the greatest. You know, the funny thing,
if it works, yeah.
It works. The funny thing is, when I built my website, I built it as a blog. I was blogging back in the day. Yeah. Terrible time. But I built it just as a place to, you know, write stories about all my travels, because I've had such a cool time from start to now, being in New Zealand and fishing in Canada and all this other cool stuff, and all the people I've met, like your podcast, you know, when you get to want to share all of these really cool core memories. So it started off as a blog, place to put up blogs, and then of course when the guiding started, it was just really easy to kind of like, you know, moderate a few things and fix a few things, and you know, now it's a guide website. So, but it has my blog on it. Don't read anything; it's quite terrible.
So, and did you refuse some client?
Have I ever refused clients? Yeah. Not because
9 people. This group.
That was for sure. That was for sure a no-go. But no, I'm pretty open. I think where some guides would probably refuse clients versus others is complete beginners. So I like taking out complete beginners because I think where I'm at right now, it only helps me become a better teacher. When you have to teach, when you're teaching someone who has never fly fished before in New Zealand, where you're casting long leaders, like I just took my parents out for the first time yesterday, and don't watch this, Mom. Parts of it was really hard, you know, pull your hair out sort of a thing, but I think it's a level of patience that, like, in other parts of the world where you might just be sitting on a boat the whole time and all they're doing is like water loading the rod. I think that when you teach beginners here, it's a lot of management of expectations, but it's also just really going from things, the very fundamental core part of fly fishing, to trying to get them to be somewhat advanced.
Yeah, it was another my question. What is ideal customer, if it's experienced or beginner? But you already answered it. But I mean, to be beginner, total beginner in South Island, it's a really tough time.
It can be done.
Yeah.
And where it can be done is
some rivers.
And people, some people really can get it quickly. They can feel the rod. They understand the mechanics a bit, and some people are just naturally are a bit more gifted with a fly rod, whereas other people, I think, you know, where muscle memory and like, you know, your brain doesn't fully kind of like go hand in hand. So that just takes, it's what we would call maybe more of like a high maintenance client, where it does take a lot more time and a lot more patience and a lot more of really breaking it down, and a casting clinic before you even get on the water. Like taking them out to a field, don't put them in front of a fish straight away. Like most people fall to pieces as soon as you put a fish in front of them and it's their first day out, you know.
And when you were fishing with your parents, did they catch any fish?
They did.
Both of them?
Yeah. The funny thing is, my dad's probably a better angler, but like he got in his head a bit. I don't know if it's because he's my dad, but you know, he has been fishing his whole life, not fly fishing. But my mom got on the rod, and we worked on a few things, and she was figuring out the casting. She just happened to put this cast up, and it landed, and it was actually a fabulous cast. And she was going to pick up the rod, even though I asked her to leave it. I think she just naturally was going to pick up the rod to recast, and the fish had come and ate her dry.
So
she struck as the fish ate, and so she casted and hooked and landed her first ever fish yesterday on the fly in a pressured backcountry river as well. Nice. And It was awesome. And now my parents, they're like, all right, we're going to go to a lodge next year. Ooh. Not because of me. Not because of me. They want to do 3-4 days, but they're kind of luxury people.
Okay.
And so they want to go stay at like a fancy lodge, and they're like want to do like the whole thing. And they also want me to be able to fish with them. I didn't fish at all, of course, obviously, because I'm guiding them.
But it's great when they want some luxury lodge.
Yeah.
You can charge them more.
I know. exactly. But
So
I will say, when it comes to whether a guide would choose, like, I would rather have a beginner that has a fantastic attitude,
yeah.
versus a really great angler who makes you feel terrible, or beneath
and doesn't
them.
listen,
and doesn't listen, and does not appreciate the entire experience. I've had people, and there's a great guy, you might know him, Ronan Crean. He's out of Alexandria. He's in my opinion, he's one of the best guides in the area, probably in New Zealand. He said to me, I said, what is the best advice you can give to me? And this is when I first became a guide a few years ago. And he was like, vet your clients. Don't take them to the cream to begin with. And I'll explain that. What he was saying is, there are certain people that even if they pay you a lot of money and they want to go to your favorite fishery, they have a potential to ruin it for you. Mm-hmm. You taking them to what you believe is the cream, and you, like, if I was fishing it, I would be just mind blown. I'd be in heaven and all that. And you take them there and they're like, oh yeah, this is okay.
Yeah.
That is so, I've had that happen this year. And that was actually really, like, I didn't know that it happened, and now I know. And I can't believe that it happened. But yeah, it's something I would have never thought about until he said that. So that's my rambling.
And have you ever had some funny incident with client?
Oh, funny. Oh my God, yeah. Let's see. Funny. Well, there's more heartbreaking experiences than funny experiences, but...
Give me both of them.
God, okay. Heartbreaking experience happened this year. I had this great client. God, he was awesome. He was just can-do attitude and just fabulous. And we had a really hard start to the day. We were fishing behind another guide that was in there the day before. And we were in this fishery, and we had caught like a lovely rainbow to start. I was like, okay, monkey off the back, let's keep going. And I could see this really big fish on the other side of the river in this big back eddy. And I was like, okay, that looks like a pretty big fish. So I crossed over, and I got up on this high bank, and I climbed up on this tree, and I looked down. And no word of a lie, it was probably the biggest rainbow I've ever seen in the backcountry. And big rainbows are a lot rarer, I've found down here, of course. Ours is big browns, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, a big kite, old fish, but solid, comfortable, like 8, 9. And I was like, awesome, perfect. And so, and he was eating cicadas in this backwater. And so then the client, he came over, and we got up on this tree, and we just watched him for a good 5 minutes, just watching him, watching the beat, see at what time he would come in, how long he would come in for, and then he would leave in a hen rainbow. It was a jack, and the hen rainbow would come in and kind of check him out and eat around, and then leave. And Wes looked at me. He's like, just so you know, this is the coolest thing I've ever done. And I was like,
just looking,
okay, watching. He was like, this is some National Geographic shit. Yeah. And I was like, also, thank you for appreciating this, because I'm having a great time also watching fish. And so anyways, we make a game plan, because you always have to get a game plan together. Okay, that log is there, so if he goes this way, this is what you're gonna do. Okay, if he goes that way, we're gonna run across. You're gonna keep your rod this way. Just trying to walk through every scenario.
And how long does it take such a plan to make it?
It was a good half hour.
Yeah. Phew.
It was a good half hour between.
Yeah,
you
but
know,
the trail is big.
just to really like get it set up, you know, because when you have a big fish, I mean, you try and go through this motion for every fish, but of course some fish take a bit more time, should take a little bit more time in preparation than others,
Sure.
So the big fish leaves the back eddy, he goes into the main system, and we make our way down, and I get Wes all ready. And we get the cicada out, and I said, look, now this is what's going to happen. He is going to eat at you. I need you to say, God save the Queen before you lift.
Yeah.
And we walk through everything. I get back up in my tree.
God save the King.
Yeah. I get back up in my tree, and I'm calling everything as the fish is coming in. And I just watch the fish come up, and I eat the cicada. And I hear Wes say, God save the Queen. And he lifted, and the rod is bent. The fish starts to shake, popped.
Yeah.
You know what we didn't think about? The fact that the fish would snap the line with his teeth.
Phew. So sharp.
Very sharp. It does happen on occasion. I've had it happen in Turangi. Some of those rainbows have got very sharp teeth. Even in some of the browns. I've been nicked by a few.
Yeah.
It was a clean snap. Yeah, see? It was such a clean snap, and I was just like, oh, it's just like this moment that, again, you can't prepare for. Like, we prepared for it, but there was, sometimes you go through every motion and you do everything right, and you still lose the fish. And there are other people that do everything wrong, and they get the fish. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that would probably be, from just this year, it's my most heartbreaking. One of the funniest. Oh man, I'd have to think about it. There are quite a few. I wouldn't say that it's ever been with clients. Oh, you know, okay, I've got one. One of the funniest would just be, I had this really sweet lady, older lady, same this year, and she was the kind of person that couldn't really move around. She was older, she could cast, but she couldn't move. So as soon as she like hooked a fish, it was all like, okay, I'm gonna either like throw you on my back and get you into like a good position, or I'm just gonna have to do everything else. And so I had this lady, she hooked this beautiful rainbow, and I didn't realize she pretty much didn't have her drag set at all. So this fish just ran all the way upstream. And I was like, okay, still on, fabulous. And I was just thinking there, I was like, oh my gosh, she's not gonna be able, she had a tiny little arbor, like a little, it was almost like a 3-4 way little reel. And I was like, she is not gonna be able to get enough line back on. So she runs up, the fish runs up, and I was like, okay, what I need you to do, as soon as you start to feel a bit of slack, she can't run back, she can't run with them. I was like, I need you to like get your line on the finger, and I want you to just start stripping line down, and that's how I want you to retrieve. We're not gonna use the reel right now at all. And so the fish just starts to come down, and she's doing it, but again, because she's a little bit older, she just still wasn't picking up enough slack. So I had to grab the line, and I started running to the other side of the river, keeping the tension on with my hand. And so then she was able to, like, you know, kind of strip it in, and I came in, and we landed the fish. We landed it.
Super.
It was her best rainbow. It was a beautiful fish. It was like 5 pound, and just really solid, really happy, healthy fish. And we landed it, and it had an old, all kind of what would you call it, like slimy royal wolf hanging off of his mouth, a piece of mono that went down its guts, maybe about 1.5 feet. So we did a little bit of surgery, and she got to keep the fly, which would be a little gross, and it's one of my favorite memories for this year. And it just goes to show, like, anybody can fish, anybody can fly fish. If you just give them the opportunity, you'd be actually really surprised with what people can do, even with the limitations that they might have.
And you mean that your clients are not fly fishers in their country? They just wanted to try here for the very first time?
The people?
Yeah.
So both sets, the guy with the big big fish. He did a bit of saltwater fly fishing in the States. So he'd done a bit, so he got a cast, which was cool. Whereas this other clients, they only fish once a year, but they've been coming to New Zealand and fly fishing in New Zealand, like you, for 30 years. They do a big month-long trip, fly fishing specifically for that time, for the year, every year for 30 years.
Phew.
Yeah.
I would like also 24 more.
I know. So it's yeah, you get a mixture. You know, I think that I'm just very lucky. I have a very diverse range. It's funny. I'm actually getting quite a lot of your younger clients. I get a mix, right? But I think that there's a lot younger people that are coming over from the States. You know, Instagram and stuff like that. And most of the guides here are, no offense to any of you, are, you know, over 50. There's a majority of them, right? So I think that sometimes when you have a younger guide, for a younger person, it might be easier to be relatable, you know? Yeah. So I've been really lucky with a lot of people my age this year. It's been really cool to see.
So, and how many girls or ladies are from 10 clients?
Do you mean like how many of the women? We love a garbage truck.
Yeah, but I mean, I just came from car wash.
Where? Oh no! That's so nice that Cub let you use his car.
Yeah.
With the percentage male to female clientele, I think I've got maybe about 30% women at the moment. This year actually was probably more 40%. Ooh, nice. Maybe like 35, like in there. Whereas last season I might have only had 10% women. So it's great. I mean,
maybe this is also not bad business plan to target more for women.
Yeah.
Because women are, I think, kind of more secure with another woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that is 100% true. I've had women come to me and they've told me about a bad experience that they've had with a guide, and majority of the time they're male, and you know, sometimes we need different levels of patience and different types of levels of teaching, right? Different styles of teaching. It's not one shoe fits all. So yeah, it is a really cool thing. Like this year specifically, I did get to see maybe quite a lot more of your female anglers that have been doing it for a longer time. It wasn't just their first time out. They do it a lot in the States, or they do it a lot in Canada. And so that was, you know, for us women, professionals, it's cool to be seeing more of us kind of come up in the industry, because when I first started, it was just, I was at the Fly Fest and it was just Hannah Clement was there and Teresa Bilby, and like those are the only two chicks, and there was like, I don't know, 90 dudes. And so yeah, it is, you know, it's just it's yeah. This
is my another question. You lead to this guiding is often men's world. Yeah. So, and how it is for you as a woman, and it is good, or do you encounter some bias?
Ooh, great question. I think because I've grown up in a man's world most of my life. Like my dad was my best friend growing up. It was the biggest tomboy you've ever seen. I think that if there has been biasness, I've been able to kind of, you know, just move through it. Probably not as easily as other people like Hannah have. She came from an even harder time. You know, she started guiding 7 years ago, when there really wasn't that many women do it, and now there's like 6 of us. It's really grown. I think I won't get into it too much, but I have faced a bit of biasness from clients and from other professionals. And I think that what I could say about it is their opinions don't dictate your journey. If you allow their opinions to do that, and you let them hurt your confidence, and you believe what they think, then you won't ever become the great guide, the great angler that you're meant to be. And I think just showing them what you can do and just being a badass and, you know, going to the beat of your own drum, whatever you want it to be, I think that that's the true success. It's just doing it your way, regardless of what biasness you may face, just move through it. You know what I mean? Because it's your support system. The people around you will never have those negative thoughts and opinions about you. I have been so fortunate. The group of people that have had the confidence in me from the beginning are the ones that you would think might be biased. You know, these are the old school boys that have been in the industry for years and years and years, but they're coming from a different background. And my heroes are all of these fantastic men, really. I mean, I'm lucky to have women like Hannah and April Volke and those ladies, but they're, you know, they live further away, right? So the core people in my life are these guys that are my heroes, and they really make me feel good about myself and good about my job and good about my decisions. And if they think I've got it handled, then nothing else really matters.
So you said that the women's guide are just 6 in the whole South or whole New Zealand?
I think it's pretty much so, and apologies if I get it wrong, I think there's actually only 5. So you've got Louise and Teresa in the North Island. I think there is another woman there, but I've never gotten a chance to meet her. Then down here, it's myself, Christina, and Hannah. And so there might be another one or two in there. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting them. And from what I've found, it's just really kind of the 5 of us that are kind of, you know, and maybe Rachel McNay, I think she just joined the association maybe last year. So, you know, the ones that are kind of doing it like really permanently as a job most of the time.
And do you have some meetings, some chilling time together? No,
you know,
and not only women but also together with guys?
Yeah, you know, I'd say with the women, I'd say probably my best guide girlfriend would be Hannah, and we get to do some cool stuff together. And the funny thing is, we only met maybe 2 years ago. And but it feels like we've been friends for a long time. And to me, she is, I hope she doesn't hear this podcast, I think that she's one of the best anglers in New Zealand. And I'm not just saying that, like, she makes me want to be better. And because you don't have a lot of heroes, or maybe I should say female anglers to like look up to want to like become better, and like you see them kind of kicking ass, she's one of those women for me. And she's one of the only women really in New Zealand. Teresa, she's really wonderful. She's a fabulous guide, fabulous angler. I don't get to see her as much because I'm never in the North Island anymore, which is a bit of a shame. I know there's some amazing female anglers here. I think for whatever reason, you know, they just keep to themselves, as you should do. But with getting together with groups, I'd say there's a good group that I've been lucky and fortunate enough to know and be a part of, and that's kind of the fly tackle team through Andrew Burden. Those guys, Jason Cochran, of course, like we're going to Christmas Island for 2 weeks in August, and half of it's going to be like my 30th birthday, which probably just going to be a massive piss up, to be honest. But yeah, so there are, I would say there are groups, maybe cliques potentially. But yeah, we don't really get as much time to probably get together because everyone's so goddamn busy. And or some people have families, they have different jobs.
Yeah, and also the distances are here huge.
Yeah.
No highways here, so
God no.
It took 2 times more time than in Europe.
Yeah.
So, and another question is that what is the specific for New Zealand style of fly fishing.
Oh God, yeah. All right, specific.
For me, if I can
Tell me.
This is, I am coming here for dry fly. Sometimes I'm escape to dry dropper. So
Okay.
no nymphing here.
So
I mean Euro nymphing.
Yeah.
No, just one day, not one day, just 1.5 hour to catch the eel on the mobile lakes for kids who were around. But the specific for me is really long leaders. 2 times like length rods length, yeah. So what is in your opinion another specific for New Zealand style fly fishing?
What a fabulous question. Okay, I would say that's very New Zealand is backcountry.
Backcountry.
Backcountry is, look, backcountry, like, okay, sight fishing. Let's just go sight fishing. Yes, dry fly fishing can like relate to that for sure. But when I first started fly fishing here, because I was so shit, I liked blind fishing because if I didn't catch anything, oh, it doesn't matter. I couldn't see the fish.
At least you're casting.
At least I was casting, you know. At least I was trying. Whereas now, I will, even if I have a client that hasn't caught anything, I will hardly ever blind fish. Hardly ever. And I just, God, I have fallen in love with sight fishing to a level that is a little psychotic. But doing that in the backcountry, hunting, like, I definitely go out to find peace and find time for me and going off grid, whatever else. To do that, you kind of have to go back further, right? You got to walk 10, 15 Ks. You have to put in some real like time to get remote. And even then, you have the potential to have a chopper drop in on you. You really do. Especially in the South Island, because there's a lot of like heli-specific guides, especially in Otago. But the hunting, the like searching for big fish in beautiful clear water, that to me is the cream. That to me is the most exciting and exhilarating thing I've ever done, and it is what gets me, like, even though I'm exhausted from the week, if I have a couple of days off, I would much prefer to drive the extra couple hours and go backcountry, go a bit further than probably go to a local system.
And backcountry, you mean for more than one day, or just one day? It's for you also that you call backcountry. Yeah,
if you can go a bit backcountry in just one day. You know, you can get into some of that beautiful native like bush and scenery within one day. Probably more multi-day if you really want to get the most out of it. Or what you could do is what I've done. You know, you get off work, say you clock off at 5, 6, whatever, or you get done guiding 5, 6. You drive to at least where maybe the trailhead or something, an area that night, and you camp and you sleep overnight, and then you're up and ready to get going in the morning. You know, if you're just doing it for one day. And that, I've really met a lot of people. Hannah's a great example of that. That's also her bread and butter. She doesn't like to just go to any kind of willy-nilly fishery. Like, she's very much putting in the time and the effort to go and explore and do the big missions. That's, I guess, maybe more so what I'm saying is I'd prefer to do the big stuff than the little stuff. But I do have an appreciation for the little stuff. I do. Probably just not right now because I haven't done any fishing in like 2 months. And so I really want a big trip.
Yeah, another specific here is to find fish.
To find fish.
Because for me it's really challenging. Some days and some rivers. In some rivers it's not so bad. I can find them. And I've already been there, so I know where they are staying because I was there already. But sometimes I'm really struggling. Do you think that man can be trained for this, that to find the fish. Yeah.
Look at me. I didn't know anything when I got here. I had these terrible scratch to hell Smith sunglasses. I couldn't see anything, and then I got astigmatism, and then I gotta get like special polarized sunglasses. You can be trained, but the problem with you and me, the
It's
issue,
age.
yeah, that's one. And beauty. You aren't getting to spend years
In
here
Yeah.
looking at river day. Like, you get to come for a good solid amount of time, but imagine if you got to spend 10 full years here versus you're just coming over for the month. How many months do you come over? 3?
Two. And together I was already here almost 1 year,
Yeah.
but it's not enough. Yeah.
I think it's like fly fishing. The more you do it,
Yeah.
the more you get better at it, or at least the more, practice makes perfect, I guess is one of the better terms. So there are guys and girls that do come over for short stints and stuff, and they're naturally like kind of get it, but I do think that the time and the fishery, right? Trout, depending on what rivers they're in, they have different shades to them. They have they're different colored smudges, right? And so when you get so familiar with these different fisheries and the fish that are in them and the color and where they sit and how they act and their behavior, I think that also just comes from experience and time spent in those fisheries. And when you come over, you want to go here and here and here, and you don't want to be limited to just one spot, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I think some of the best anglers and the best guides here, they're the best because their fishery they know better than anything. They know better than the back of their hand, right? Because they grew up fishing it, they grew up guiding it, they grew up, exploring it. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I wouldn't want to necessarily go to somebody else's fishery in New Zealand and try and do their job better, because I probably would need to spend a good solid couple of years just understanding it.
So
Yeah.
if you do fly fish, but do you like it by your own, or do you have some fishing buddy?
Ooh, great question. Okay.
Connor or?
Gun to my head. I probably would. I'd probably go out by myself.
Yeah.
I do love to fish with people. I think because my jobs are very people oriented and people focused, that I do love my solitude. I do love my time alone. I think that I need it personally. So currently, I probably would prefer to fish by myself. But of course, if I had Connor here, the bane to my existence. I was gonna say, he's an amazing angler. He's so fabulous, and he's 6'4", so he really spots fish. You know. So probably my greatest fishing buddy of my entire life. And then my mentor, Jason Cochran, love you. Andrew Burden, God, he's an amazing angler, but he of course is in Auckland, and I haven't got to spend much time with him in a really long time. Those would be like the top 3. If I could have them all, not live in my house. We'd have like a little fishing lodge.
3 boys.
Yeah, I know. They fart and they smell and But yeah, it is great sharing those experiences with other people. And I would say the other specific thing about New Zealand fly fishing, having a spotter and having someone to some of our fisheries, you're so far away from the fish and you get down to their level and there's a lot of glare and you've got someone to call the shots and but you do it as a team. Teamwork is so big here.
Yeah, I have it with Corey.
You have it with Corey.
Yeah.
He's great. Corey taught me so much, and just the one day he pitied me and took me out. I always, every single person I've had the pleasure of fly fishing with in New Zealand, even the assholes, they have taught me something, and that's something I'll forever be grateful for. Yeah.
What about equipment? Which rod do you use? The weight? The reels? What do you prefer? What is your dream rod?
My dream rod. Oh my God.
Do you have already your dream rod?
I think I do. Look, I love Sage. I'm just a very fast action oriented caster. I love Sage through and through. They are fantastic. You want to know something so funny? I have the classic trout Reddington rod. My mom used yesterday. It's the first rod I ever bought off of eBay. The first expensive rod I ever bought was my Sage X electric teal six. It was a 6-weight. Somebody, aka Connor, left it on a. He left it on my van.
And you are still with him?
I know. It's okay. He made up for it. I got 2 R8s out of it. Yeah, don't worry. I never let him forget about it. One of my dream rods, funnily enough, would actually be the Reddington Hydrogen Spay Rod. It's an old. They don't make it anymore. Connor's got one. God, I love that rod. I loved it very much. You can't get them anymore, so that would be a dream rod. I think just because you can't get it.
Yeah.
You know, I love everything. Okay, I do have a dream rod. Sage Mod 5-weight.
Mod?
Mod, M-O-D. It was like a really light green rod. They don't make them anymore. I try and keep. There was a 6-weight for sale the other day. I don't like the 6-weight. It, in my opinion, is the best dry fly rod I've ever used. And I could maybe, you could maybe relate it to, what could you relate it to? You could relate it to maybe the 5-weight Epic. I love the Epic. I really, really do. Carl McNeil did such a great job. Carl used to fish Sage a lot back in the day, you know, in some of his films and stuff. So yeah, that would be a dream rod, but I would say the reels, mainly Sage. Also, again, shout out to Epic. The backcountry reels I think are fabulous. I am not too much of a gear slut, but I've got a soft spot for Sage, and if you put a Mod 5-weight 4-piece in front of me right now, I would say name your price. And that would be it. That'd be it.
You know, I had, I think, at least 8 Sage rods.
Yeah. Don't tell me you sold them all.
I sell 6 of them. Right? Do you know why? Because they changed the warranty policy. And I don't really like it.
Yeah.
I don't really like it.
It doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah, because I think it's kind of cheating on customers.
Yeah.
So I sell all these old ones because if you break the old ones, it costs a lot of money to repair it.
You gotta send it in.
Yeah.
It's funny. Certain companies and certain brands, when they go through a change, I think it's very easy for them to lose customers.
Yeah.
It's like Patagonia has never changed. They've never changed anything. They've never changed their warranty. They've never changed their repair policy. They've only just stayed the same, but of course made different products and stuff like that. And I think that's why they're...
For me, Sage, closed chapter.
Yeah.
For this. And I really loved ESN. I still love XP, the old one, for nymphing. So these 2 I keep.
You keep.
But I have 2 more for sale. So.
This is actually just so Igor can sell gear.
No. But now I use mainly Hana competition, because.
What is it?
Hanak.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah, because Hanak, the owner,
Yeah.
is really close to friend to me, and I travel abroad with him, and we are doing also some development of this. So I like it very much, and for me it's not only brand, but the people behind this brand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Look. It's not even about brand. Sometimes it's about the people.
Yeah. Connection.
You could actually have really shitty gear, but if the people that sell it are phenomenal and they believe in it, it helps you feel like you can also believe in it. No, that's a bit cheesy, but you know.
Another specific for New Zealand is wet wading. What do you think about it? Do you practice it? And what about your clients?
Wet wading. Oh God, yeah. I mainly wet wade most of the year. I think just because, you know, it's so hot and we do so much walking and we're like, you know, minimum 10 Ks a day. You don't want to be in waders the whole time. It's pretty awful. So you essentially, I try and train clients not to be in waders because it is a health and safety thing. And also, you know, someone falls and they fill up their waders. They're probably not going to have the greatest time, but because you're kind of you're out of the river most of the day. It's not like in the U.S. where
sure.
you're fishing kind of almost waist deep a bit of the time. You are walking off of it, and you're only getting in every so often to do river crossing. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of wet wading and just mainly having good boots. That's you just need good boots, and you need.
Do you use fora or?
I do use the fora. I love the foras.
Yeah.
I haven't really ever had the opportunity to fish a whole lot of different stuff.
Did you try Dana?
I didn't try Dana, but I heard that they're like concrete blocks.
Yeah, the one Dana is like 2 foras.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really heavy.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No problem.
Can you?
A few more questions and you are free.
Perfect. I just have to have my mom change the dinner reservation because it was at 7:15. Can you call Came and ask them to change reservation to 8? Almost finished. Okay. So sorry about that. I just realized what time it was.
When someone says unforgettable fish, what pops in your head?
An unforgettable fish is the one that got away. It's always it's always the one that you did not land. It's always the fish that, like, I had this guy last year. He was a surgeon from Denmark, and we went and fished a beautiful system that you've been to for a couple of days, and we had this great time, and he caught all these really great fish, and he ended up hooking this. It was probably half the size of the other fish we landed, but before we were getting close to landing it, and you could see that it was just really stunning colors. You know, it looked like it almost had like those red spots that you rarely get, and the fish broke him. I don't think that he necessarily broke him off, but anyways, he ended up losing the fish. And at the end of the trip, he's like, "That's the one fish I really wanted." Even though you could tell it was smaller than the other fish. He's like, but it was just, you know, it was just the one that it's always the one that you don't land. And
But I mean, one unforgettable fish you talk about when we were in a pub. What about the trigger?
Okay.
This is another fishing like in New Zealand, but it's your own fishing.
Talk about imposter syndrome. Okay. I've been saltwater fly fishing twice, and I caught a triggerfish. And do I think I deserved it? No.
But you caught it.
But I caught it, and I got very, very lucky. I think the best part about that entire experience is I didn't have the heartbreak beforehand to be stressed about it.
Yeah.
I was in very much I was really excited, and I was really, you know, like, oh man, like I was like, I really want this fish because I've heard everybody talk about it, but I didn't have the nervousness. You know, when it's where the imposter syndrome stuff comes from. I watched Connor the next day cast at 20 triggerfish, and every single one of them spooked. Not because he was a bad caster, he's a phenomenal caster, he's a phenomenal angler, but it just wasn't on that day. The fish were, and so I watched that, and you could tell when you get to that point where you have kind of fucked up or lost or messed up a fish after fish after fish, you lose your confidence. I see it happen to clients, and so I didn't have the loss of confidence that day, thank God. And so we're sitting there, I'm on the rod. We're bone fishing. We're not looking for triggers at all. And I've got a little 8-weight, and I've got a shrimp pattern on with 16 pound tippet, right? 16 pound leader, I should say. And all of a sudden, this big dark shape starts to kind of cruise over, and our guide was like, "Oh, trigger." And I was like, "Oh shit, cool, awesome." And so we kind of just stop and we like watch him as he doesn't come straight at us. He just turns at the perfect moment to kind of glide past us. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, let's get this fish, because he's tailing, he's feeding, he is what we would call a happy fish, right? And so all of a sudden my guide's kind of telling me what to do, and I'm like, and then the fish kind of turns into a headwind, and I'm kind of casting this 8-weight, and I'm landing the flies kind of where it needs to be, and I get one good cast with the shrimp, and the trigger turns on it, and I pull the rod, like how you do, yeah. So I bend the rod to kind of set the hook like a side set, and I got weight, and then it popped, and then my guide was like, "Don't do that." He was like, "I didn't know." He's like, it's just point the rod
Not
at
like
the fish.
this.
No side strip. It is rod, and you give it all hell with your leader. Because we were really, really close to it. There was no fly line out, hardly any. So while I'm casting at this, it seemed to be a big trigger, luckily I had the love of my life getting the 20 pound and the flexo crab on the 9-weight together. Bless him. So the trigger, like, luckily he didn't spook. Another just, blessing from this guy. And then he kind of just sort of docile, keeps going. And we switch rods, and now I've got the 9, and I put the fly in the right place, thank God. And the trigger's just like here and just on it. And I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm stripping just teeny, and I feel a little bit of the tap, and then I pull, and there's weight, and I've never pulled so hard in my life. I felt like I dislocated my shoulder. And so I pull, weight, fish, go, and just starts taking off. So I lift the rod, and we're in this area where there are bommies all over. They're to the left. The trigger ate there, 2 meters to the left was a massive bommie. And luckily, the trigger started going out to the right. That's all because it'd come from that way, so his home must have been over there, right? So he starts going out that way, and with all these bommies around, there's one long, free bit of sand with nothing on it. Just long enough and wide enough to where this trigger, like, we had the drag pretty much all the way up, slowly cranking it up as he's going. And so as the trigger's going across this long bit of sand, I'm kind of moving to the side, so we're just kind of sidestepping. And so he's not going to be able to run straight across from it. He's kind of having to go side onto it. And so we're getting more and more distance back, and he stops a meter before that next line of bommies. And we're able to start kind of bringing him back. And my guide, you could just tell, he was like, really excited. And we get him back. It was the fight of my life. It was the most fun I've ever had. We land this thing, and again, it was a dream. It was the most unforgettable thing to ever happen in my career of fly fishing, personally. And I felt like, again, imposter syndrome, because I hadn't been through the heartbreak, but wow, what a hard fighting fish, what such a cool fish. Getting the flexo crab out of his mouth, watching him bend the pliers that we had, hardcore pliers. I was like, yeah, you wouldn't want to stick your fingers anywhere near there. No. It just the fact that everything, how we've talked about how everything can go wrong and you catch the fish, but also how everything can go right. Luckily, nothing went wrong when so many things could have.
Do you have it on your Instagram?
I do have it on my Insta.
What is your nick on Instagram?
It's Trout Scout Life.
So you can see it there.
You could go see the peach face that I was really, really lucky to land.
What about competition? Did you try some? No.
Never.
No.
I have, okay. Competition angling, I don't have any want to do it, but I have a lot of respect for it. I think that one thing that I did get to do a bit of Euro nymphing when I first came here on the Hinnimaya in the North Island. And of course, being around Corey and stuff, that little bit, I got to learn a lot from him and the few times that we went out. I think that it only can round you out as an angler. It really teaches you streamcraft and in fish positioning, where they sit, and depth perception. Mm-hmm. And that the drift, the no drag drift, I think is such a big thing that happens here. We get so much micro drag, and when you have high pressured fish, everything can make them unhappy, and just that little bitty teeny micro drag can make them refuse a fly. So the nice thing with competition angling is you really get to kind of take that element out of it, but it's just completely different. And and I think that I like to watch other people do it, but I probably wouldn't be very good.
Yeah, but I said to Corey many times that I don't understand why people, Kiwis are competing here, because my opinion is that we change the thrill for catching the big fish to thrill to catch as many as you can catch. Yeah,
totally. I think it's just a different mindset, and each to their own. Not one is better than the other, but some people will think so.
I don't think so that you use all these, but I ask always, what is your favorite dry fly?
Ooh, PMX. PMX for sure.
What is your favorite wet fly?
Ooh, okay. So there's this guy. He's an American guy who makes an amazing articulated streamer. Called
but this is streamer.
Yeah, it is streamer. It's a wet fly.
Yeah.
So you gotta say nymph. Do you mean nymph?
Yeah, I have here dry fly, wet fly, nymph, streamer.
Okay, fair. Okay, dry fly, PMX, wet fly.
Kind of this partridge or this
a
old
little
school
soft tackle. Yeah, totally. I love just a very small basic partridge soft tackle. Yeah, just something, actually Yvon Chouinard, it's called a flimp. Flimp.
So combination.
It's in his book, Pheasant Tail Simplicity.
Yeah.
So that would be just like a little wee wet. Love a little wee wet. They're so great. Swing, because I do love my spay. And then nymph.
This is for me or for us. When we are saying nymph, it means with bead.
Right, with bead. Okay. My favorite nymph would probably be Ronan's Claret. So Ronan Crean, the Irish guide I was telling you about over in Alexandria, he has a signature tie from Fulling Mill, and it's called the Claret, and it is deadly. It's a fabulous nymph, and I use it in a lot of in case of emergency situations, and she's great.
And now you can say streamer.
The streamer, right. Okay, so there's an American guy who sells articulated streamers from Fisherman's Loft in Christchurch, and they're called bacon strips. And I doubt he wants to make any more. I wonder if he'll get a lot more orders for them. But God, they're great. And it's the darker shade, the dark brown with the black and the red bead in the middle. Chef's kiss. It's my favorite. Stunning.
Okay, so and the last question.
Yes.
What is your best piece of advice for rookies who just starting with fly fishing?
No, that's such a great question. Have more confidence in yourself to go out and fail. I think that where people struggle is they think that just because they're not catching fish that they're not good, and they have to be going out with somebody else in order to learn. And yes, having a mentor is really important. My second piece of advice would be find someone that you trust and someone that you love fishing with and spend as much time with them as possible. But also don't have confidence in yourself to go out and learn, even if it means that you're not catching fish. Just going out and enjoying the time rather than focusing on the catching, I think is the thing that people can lose in fly fishing, and that we shouldn't, because being outside and being happy is the best part about it, you know? The fish are just a bonus.
Yeah, exactly, especially here on South Island. Anyway, Shelen, thank you very much.
Thank you, Igor.
That you taking time to chat with me.
It was so fun.
I mean, it was really fun, and it will be really some advices and some your opinions really pleasant for viewers. Yeah.
Terrible, actually.
No.
No, thank you for having me. It was
And
such
now
a
you
pleasure.
can go for dinner with your parents.
Yes, let's go eat some sushi. Not trout.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Oh, that was so fun.
Okay. Just 1.5